Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Brian Hood. I'm the General Manager here at IT&T, and thank you for joining us today for IT&T's monthly webinar. We'll start in just a couple of minutes. We'll wait for a few more minutes for everyone to join. We're very excited about today's webinar, and we've got a special guest with us today. Savag is a deep expert in lots of things Microsoft, and he's going to be joining us today to give it a little bit of a practical demonstration for how AI agents can be used successfully throughout your business. All right, folks, just one more minute to go and then we'll get started. We've got a great turnout for today's meeting. I'm really pleased. There's a lot of customers we've got online today, but yeah, it's promising to be really one of our most informative sessions today. So I won't be doing too much of the talking. I'm just going to give a very brief introduction to, and I guess a recap for some of you about what the various different AI models that are out there and how they differ. And then we'll be passing over to Savag, who will help us with some real practical demonstrations of AI in action. So we've just clicked on to 12 o'clock now, guys, and I'll get us started. So thank you again for joining us for our IT&T monthly webinar. Today being a Tuesday, we normally run them on a Wednesday, but we've put it back to Tuesday so we can accommodate our special guest. So once again, my name is Brian Hood. I'm the General Manager here at IT&T, and I'm really pleased to introduce Savag, who works for our distribution partner together with Microsoft, and he is one of the deep domain experts that we go to when we get really, really big or troubles that we can't solve here at IT&T. So look, I think 2026, in our view, is going to go down in history as one of the great inflection points for how the world is going to change, and it'll be viewed in history as one of these big inflection points. So definitely industries are rapidly changing, and the drivers for economic growth are evolving, and technologies at an inflection point. So the impact of all of this change is most definitely real. So what we've tried to indicate on this page here is just how much change has occurred in the last century in particular. So from the mid 1400s with the advent of the printing press, through steam engines, electrification, and even flight was only really occurring at the beginning of the 1900s into AI today. And this scale that's represented by this graph is actually a logarithmic scale, and it's showing the economic impact. So really, in the last 100 years, we've seen 20 times more GDP growth compared to any other century. So it's an era of massive change. So many will know that Copilot is built on OpenAI, the founders and makers of ChatGPT. But the partnership is a little different, and they really formed a shared ambition to use AI responsibly and also use it where data integrity and confidentiality is maintained. So just understanding some of today's leading AI tools, look, there's lots and lots of information out there, and I know that many on this call would have tried different forms of AI in their business. This slide here is really just to give you a bit of a very high level overview of what the strengths are. So one of the features that Copilot has is that it's integrated the ChatGPT large language model, and it's integrated it deeply and thoroughly throughout the Microsoft environment. So it really is designed to enhance the work that you're already doing, along with contextual intelligence and using your enterprise's data. Gemini does much the same, but within the Google's ecosystem. Grok has a real strength around real-time social and conversational data, and that enables that high-speed sentiment analysis and trend detection, whereas ChatGPT is really known for its versatility. So being able to work with reasoning and creativity in natural language interaction across a diverse range of applications. So there are, of course, different types of copilots, and this is the work that I'm going to hand over to Sevag directly after this slide to talk a little bit more through. But there are role-based copilots, so Copilot that's designed to support you and your role within the business. Things like finance and sales with automation and data insights. There's embedded copilots, so these integrate within software tools to provide natural language assistance to boost productivity. So think about a copilot integrated into a finance platform, for instance, where it can be integrated with your sales inbox, and that embedded copilot is then able to recognize new sales opportunities and even to be able to create quotes directly using the Copilot embedded agent. Then there's task-specific copilots, and these are designed to execute very defined processes like drafting documents or reporting or generating reports or things of that nature. And last but not least, there's custom or strategic deployment of Copilot agents. So organisers can build custom Copilot leveraging things like APIs to integrate into your existing CRM or any other business application. And this is where IT&T are beginning to develop a real expertise to assist clients around doing this custom work and being able to help you get greater productivity within your business. So have I got Sevag with me now?
I am here, Brian.
Hey, Sevag. Very pleased to introduce Sevag, one of the true gentlemen in the IT space, very willing and able to give lots of his time, and he has just a wealth of knowledge. So over to you, Sevag.
You're setting the bar too high for me, Brian. Now I have to meet expectations. Thanks for the introduction, Brian. Hi, everyone. I'll just quickly say it again. My name is Sevag. I work for Ingram Micro and I specialize in Microsoft solutions. I've been in the industry for about 25 plus years now. So yeah, been around from the days of DOS when everything was just black and white, and then you just had a keyboard. Now to AI. My current specialties are around security and Copilot itself. So as I mentioned, I do specialize in Microsoft solutions mostly. And I'm here to show you about more some practical examples on Copilot and how to get the best out of it. And what I'll try to do is run a small comparison of, not a comparison, or give you some ideas where Copilot does things differently. I don't want to say better or worse, just differently, and where in a business context Copilot excels over other Gen AIs. I'm not the kind that runs PowerPoint slides. I like to keep things very interactive, so please do ask questions at any time. I believe you do have the ability to come off mute or in the chat. If you want to say hi, come on cam, all good. But what I'll do is I'll share my screen and talk through while I'm doing some stuff. Now, just as an indication for me, within the audience, do we have people who already have Microsoft 365 Copilot, Brian, or?
We do. Yeah, there's a couple of people on the call today that do have the Copilot license, and a lot of customers that are here today that we've talked to as well, and they're certainly here to learn more and understand what's capable with it.
Perfect. I'm not going to do deep dives technically, but again, if any of you have any questions around the security or anything in M365, to be honest, just please let me know, and I welcome you to keep this more interactive. What I have over here is a very messy tenant. This is my demo tenant. So every time I'm doing a demonstration, I'll do over in this tenant and then not clean up. But if you have an M365 Copilot license, you will be familiar with this screen when you open up M365 Copilot as the application or as a web version. I want to quickly highlight one thing over here, the security aspect where Copilot integrates with your existing M365 configuration, especially when it comes to security. Brian mentioned lots of other Gen AI tools. I personally use more than one Gen AI tool because I don't believe there will be at any time one Gen AI tool that will excel in everything. But I do believe that we should choose the tools when it comes to Gen AI, especially because Gen AI works on information, and information security is serious business. You should not be leaking your customers' information or putting them at risk of data loss. That's why when within a business context, especially if you're using Microsoft ecosystem, the obvious choice would be Copilot, just because it integrates with your M365 apps and it honors all of the security that's configured already by IT&T or yourselves. Meaning your Copilot can access only the things that you have access to. If you're using other Gen AIs, and I'm not going to name them here because again, it's not about saying this is better than the other. If you're working with other Gen AIs, they're not integrated with your Microsoft, starting with your username and password, right? So if you don't have M365 Copilot, you should have it, but still you can leverage M365 Copilot Chat, which is the equivalent of your free ChatGPT or Gemini or so on and so forth. Just by signing in to, if you visit m365.cloud.microsoft and you sign in with your business email with your Entra ID that IT&T have configured for you, you'll get this green shield over here, which is already a step further than others can provide. This green shield means enterprise data protection, and this is Microsoft contractual agreement with yourselves, saying that Microsoft will not use your information to train the AI that's running Copilot. Now, like Brian mentioned earlier, when Copilot started, it was based on OpenAI. OpenAI obviously has ChatGPT, and when we call GPT, that's the LLM, that's the large language model, which is the brain that does the thinking behind Copilot or ChatGPT, right? Now, very brief history. Microsoft and OpenAI had a joint venture. Obviously, they had R&D and everything working together, and they ended up with this GPT. And each one of the companies took their own copy of it and customized it to just explain it a bit simpler. It doesn't mean if Copilot's using GPT, it's the same LLM or it's the same brain that ChatGPT is using. It's a copy of it and customized and secured and fine-tuned for Microsoft Copilot. Now, that expanded. On this screen, if I go to, by the way, when I'm in the web, this is the free version. When I'm going to work, this is M365 Copilot version. Currently, I can ask Copilot to use its default settings to think and come up with answers. And as you can see over here, there's an auto. This auto started being available some few months ago, not too long ago, where there was a new version of GPT that could make decisions depending on the context or on the question that you're asking in chat, and redirects it to a brain that does that specific job better. And currently there's the quick response and the think deeper. So if I keep it on auto and I ask it how's the weather, it's just going to go and ask the quick response part of the brain and then answer quickly. If I wanted to write me an essay or do some research on a product, it's going to automatically route it to think deeper. Right? The reason I'm showing you this is sometimes these small choices or options get missed while using Copilot. And this has a big effect on the outcome that I want. So, for example, if I'm going to ask Copilot a simple question about how is the weather, but I want it to go into the deeper analysis of why the weather is hot today in Sydney, I might go and ask it think deeper, and then give it a bit better prompt where, hey, go and research and find out what happened with the weather and explain why it's hotter than usual today. And while I'm here, I want to show you that there's more coming into Copilot. It's not only built on GPT anymore. Copilot, Microsoft's bringing in the best of the breeds of each of those vendors or each of those LLMs that Brian mentioned initially into Copilot. So Copilot's becoming the front end, and the back end, it has gonna jokingly say multiple personalities, multiple brains to use to come out to give you an answer. These will make the outcome of or the output of Copilot much better if you understand what each LLM or what each option does for you. This is the basic view of Copilot, and the way I use it is if I'm going to talk to AI, and this is a common I'm going to call it a common mistake, but it's not a big mistake. It's a common behavior that we go and talk to Copilot in a way that we use it as a search engine, right? And that's basically owning a Ferrari, but driving it at 20 kilometers per hour, right? If I own a Ferrari, if the speed limit is 100, I would like to go 99 kilometers per hour, right? So how do I go 99 kilometers per hour with Copilot? By understanding the interface and which part to use when. Now, if I go and ask a question about how's the weather, I can go or I want to go and do a Google search about a product I want to find from Bunnings. I can go and chat with Copilot and it will go and find it. But this is an example of driving that Ferrari at 10 kilometers per hour. What Microsoft did after seeing this behavior is they went and put a search button over here within Copilot where it just searches for you and searches information within your company. So another thing that Copilot does, the rest cannot do by default, is Copilot has access to everything you have access to within your organization, meaning your emails, your chats on Teams, your meeting notes, your SharePoint sites you have access to, your OneDrive, so on and so forth. So to make the best out of Copilot, and especially when I'm using this new this chat option, is conversing with Copilot, having a conversation. It can come up a bit awkward sometimes or at the beginning, but have a conversation with Copilot, not just go and find this for me. This means that there's a new skill that you have to get into, which is prompting, knowing how to ask how to talk to Gen AI, and prompting applies to every Gen AI, by the way, not just Copilot. I'm sure IT&T have already spoken to lots of you around resources available for prompting for reading material or trainings. But if you have not heard or you want to expand on this topic, please do reach out to your IT&T contacts, and they will be able to expand on this. Now, I'm going to take AI to the next level, or how can I make AI much better help for me? And the answer to that is agents. This part, let me see if I can get, where is I like to have my laser pointer. No, it won't give me the option, but it's okay. So this part is where initially things started. Agents and everything under agents is where things are going to, right? If I have Copilot, great. It's gonna draft emails for me. It's gonna summarize emails. It's gonna translate emails. If I want to write an email and want it to sound non-aggressive, it's gonna fix the tone for me, so on and so forth. That's great. But what else can Copilot do for me? Is that the extent of its abilities? The answer is definitely no. The answer is agents. You've been hearing most probably agentic AI. This is a buzzword that's been out there for almost a year or a bit over a year now. So what are agents? Agents are small mini AIs that you can configure or someone can configure for you. And these agents can do specific tasks that you configure them to do, right? The good news with agents is it can start even if you're a non-technical person, if you have zero idea about technical things and configuration or building or coding or writing applications, you still can do agents because there are several ways of building agents. Now, the idea of agents is to have an assistant, a personal assistant that goes beyond summarizing my emails or scheduling my meetings. That this agent helps me with my repetitive, mundane tasks that they might not be the most favorite part of my job. Right. And I'll give you some examples from my own experience or from my own tasks at work that agents can help me automate or make it a bit faster, for example. So with agents, first of all, we do have agents that come pre-built by Microsoft. And the specialist agents that Brian mentioned earlier, some examples of them are researcher and analyst. So researcher analyst surveys, this is an admin tech agent, which you might be interested in or not, writing coach, prompt coach, blog help, basically all these agents that have an icon, they're already put there by Microsoft, right? So this prompt coach agent is an agent that teaches or works with you on your prompting. Things like researcher and analyst, right? Researcher, if I want to go and research a product, but not just like at a very high level. I want to do a deep research of some complex subject I'm working on, right? I won't go and ask it in new chat. If I go to new chat and go to auto and say think deeper and do all these configurations and ask it about the Roman Empire, for example, it's going to come and give me I don't know why the Roman Empire came to mind, but this is a topic just good for a quick example. So if I go to the think deeper, so on and so forth, it's just going to give me a good answer, but at a high level. Obviously, I can reconstruct this prompt to make it much better. But if we give it a second, you'll see the difference between using an agent that is a specialist in that subject or in that area. So basically, you need to think about the researcher, a person who's got several PhDs in researching, right? And then you have the analyst that is a person who has several PhDs in analyzing data, right? So if I'm going to go have an Excel sheet or like 10 of them, and I want to go and analyze the numbers, so on and so forth, I can go upload them or ask within Copilot in Excel to do those analysis, or I can give it to a professional analyst that has gone and studied all their life to become an analyst. So the equivalent of that person is the analyst. As you can see, I asked it about the Roman Empire. It gave me 6-7 points of very high level information, some history, most of them obviously historic, but you can see activities. So if I go and ask the same thing to researcher, and this is something I want to show you now over here within researcher, I have the ability of having GPT or Claude. Claude is another LLM that doesn't belong to OpenAI. It belongs to another company called Anthropic. And Claude's been out there and it's famous in being able to write longer articles. So this is a tech info. In the back end, there are tokens. The way GenAI works, they use tokens to do the thinking and then the writing. Claude has almost the largest tokens, and that's why Claude excels in writing much longer documents without you needing to go and reprompt to expand on a part or something, right? So if I want a 10-page research, for example, and don't quote me on the numbers, these numbers are just for the example, I might leave it to Copilot to decide which model to use, or I can go and say use GPT or Claude. Let's go for Claude and then ask it the same thing. Now you'll see a difference in behavior, and I'm hoping that we will see a difference. There will be a difference, obviously, but most of the time it will come and ask you more questions to for Copilot to build the context. And it starts over here already. So the first thing it went and asks, thanks, I can definitely help with that. And then it has questions for me. Are you looking for a general overview of the Roman Empire, which is what I got out of the chat without any expanding on the prompt? Is there a particular aspect you want me to focus on? Is this for specific purpose? Let's go for, this is for educational. Impress my teacher, for example. Now, I'm not showing you how to teach at school or go at your kids and see who's using AI or not, but just for the sake of the example. Now, the difference between researcher and just chatting with Copilot would be researcher can take up to 5, 10, 20 minutes for it to go and do the research and write those lots of pages of information that you ask for. So you can see the behavior. I'm getting an answer from just chatting with Copilot on the same subject, but when I give it to a specialist, the specialist, it started by asking me more questions. Why do you want to use it? Do you want me to write it in a specific tone? Do you want me to omit or add some information, so on and so forth? Now, these are great. Now, to expand further on agents, as I mentioned earlier, you can build your own agents. I'm going to just duplicate this page, so hopefully I won't break the researcher. It will run in the background, by the way, and it will tell me once it's done that I do have your request. As you can see, I have here test and some adoption and RFP response agents, so on and so forth. If you have an agent, if you have an M365 license, I highly recommend you give this a go. If you go to new agent, it will start a chat where I can go and just describe what I want this agent to do for me. That's why I said, even if you're non-technical and you don't have dev skills, you can create your agents. I do travel a lot within work, so I do care about the weather in my destination, about paperwork, so on and so forth. I need your assistance with my travels. My starting point is always Sydney. I need you to tell me about my destination weather and recommend what to pack. I also need you to check specific paperwork or alerts my destination. Now, the good thing is you don't have to even have perfect English here. It will understand, and I'll press enter. As you can see, the agent builder it will go and start asking me questions and help me build this agent just by talking to it without any configuration. Right? It's first thing it's coming and suggesting a name or asking me what you want to call this name. It went and suggested a travel assistant, provide destination weather updates, check paperwork requirements. Always assume you're starting to point is Sydney. And this is a test area for me. I am traveling to Perth. I'm hoping that it's going to go and tell me this is the weather in Perth, and I recommend you to pack these things, and hoping it will say you don't need weather packing, so on and so forth. When are you traveling? Tomorrow. So this might be a very basic example, but it is an example for me to be able to show you that you can start building agents without needing to have any tech knowledge. Now, as you can see, this is my test area. And the first thing I noticed is it's set by default in Fahrenheit, right? I can go and add, say, I need use matrix system. And it will go and update its instructions. Next time I ask it, I'm traveling to Brisbane in 5 days. I'm hoping it's going to come and answer in Celsius and in meters in metric system. And after I do this process and I'm happy with my, see, it started with Celsius. Happy with the results, I'll go and click create and it will save my agent. Now, the fun part is if I'm working in a team where I have other colleagues that do the same things, that need the same automation, or they can benefit from the same automation, I can share it with others. Right? I can share it with one person, with the whole company, or I can just keep it for myself. Once I've configured it, I'll be able to see it more. It might take a second for it. There we go. Travel assistant in my agents list. So yeah, the next step would be having, if you're a developer or something, you can go to Copilot Studio and build a full automation that can automate business processes. I do have a couple of examples over here. I do have an agent that responds to RFPs. So basically, it monitors a mailbox, and when a customer sends me a request for pricing, this agent will grab that request, the email, and it will draft. It will go and check what products are required or what services are required. And depending on its knowledge, what it's configured with, it's going to go and draft the response and then ping me in Teams saying that you have an RFP request, and this is the draft response for you to review and send it out. All right. Always make sure AI is intelligent, but sometimes it can hallucinate. So always make sure you are double checking the AI's output. Now, another very cool trick that's going to take me less than a minute to show you is creating agents in SharePoint. If you're in SharePoint Online and you have M365 Copilot and you want to create an agent so that agent answers questions, gives you answers from those sets of files only and nothing from the internet or from anywhere else within your company, you can simply go and click those files and then you can go and say create an agent. Basically, literally with this one click, I created a SharePoint agent, and this agent will show up in the document library. And this is where I can access it from. To chat with this agent, I can again share this agent with others. And this agent only responds from the files that I selected during the creation of the agent. I've seen people use these in product documentations where you have multiple printers, for example, in the office, and you want to troubleshoot error codes or how to change the ink cartridge or the paper size, so on and so forth, right? You might be able to go and select those 10 manuals and say, create an agent. And for your internal users, instead of for them going and finding that specific, how to change this specific printer's ink within 12 documents, they can just go and ask this agent over here, and the agent won't respond anything outside of those files. So look, we're a bit over the time for this webinar, or at least the time that I was given. I'm not sure, Brian, if you continue further or not, but I'm going to stop here and see if anyone has any questions or comments on this. And I'm hoping I was able to very quickly show a bit how agents work and how you can create agents with M365 Copilot license. Just to add to it, whenever you have M365 Copilot license, these agents won't cost you anything. If you share an agent and the person you're sharing with doesn't have a Copilot license, you can go into different types of billings, which are pay as you go, or there's several options. So do reach out to your IT&T contact if you need further information on that part.
Thanks, Savag. Look, I'd like to sort of open up for questions at this point, and maybe whilst we're waiting for the questions to come through, I might just introduce a great little agent that IT&T have developed for ourselves. Affectionately, we've called it NADS after the creator, Nadoon. But NADS is our fantastic agent that we've got here at IT&T for our tech team to use. It's built on about 30 years worth of technical knowledge, and that's the length of time that IT&T has been around for. But we've also built it on some trusted data sources. So for our GP clients on the call today, we've integrated best practice knowledge base into NADS, along with medical director and a lot of other different trusted sources of information. So our tech team here uses it on almost every single call or ticket that you guys put in, and it's able to very quickly, in a few keystrokes, able to bring in exactly the right knowledge for that particular problem. So rather than us, the tech team here, to search through page upon page upon page of documents that we've saved over the years into our knowledge base, NADS is designed just to give them the right information at exactly the right moment in time. This is a great example of using agents to improve productivity in business. Another little example I wanted to highlight, and this is an area of focus for IT&T, is we're doing some really active R&D at the moment around using agents to answer calls. So in its most basic form, and something that we can deploy very quickly, is we use your customer website to train the AI agent. So when a customer calls your business and starts asking questions, it's using your website and all the information that you have on there, that publicly available information, to be able to respond to the client. The agent is based on various accents, so we can program it typically with an Australian accent. You choose the gender of the person, the agent, so whether it be male or female, and typically also age. So you can pick a young and enthusiastic male, or you can choose an older 50-something female, depending on the style of interaction that you're looking for. These agents, voice agents, can then be further integrated into your CRM or into your calendar. So if you're a business that relies on bookings or people coming in to see you as a service, you can actually have the agent book directly into your booking calendar or into your CRM. So this means, and it really does open up a whole host of opportunities to ensure that you're not missing phone calls when you've got periods of when your business is particularly busy. And it also means that you can have the phones answered even after hours when your staff have gone home. So there's just a couple of examples of using agents in practice that IT&T are actively exploring. But we do have a business solutions team here at IT&T that can do a lot of custom work for you. So whatever you need or particular problem or an area of your business that you feel that AI or an agent could definitely, you could benefit from, just encourage you to reach out to the team here at IT&T, and we'd be more than happy to help you scope out the work that you need for us to do. So I haven't got too many more questions coming through on the chat line yet, but feel free, anyone, to come off mute and ask your questions there of Savag or myself. But other than that, folks, I really, really appreciated you spending the time with us today. I'll just reiterate the point that I made at the beginning of the call, which is that we definitely believe 2026 is a year of inflection for the use of AI in business. And I just wanted to finish on the point that if anyone on the call would like us to do any sort of deeper dive, we're happy to do one-on-one sessions with any of our clients at no cost for you. We will happily sit down and go through and work out what some of the challenges are in your business and how we might be able to help. All right, folks. Well, look, thank you again for joining us today. As always, a recording of this presentation will be made available on YouTube using the IT&T's dedicated channel. So give it a day or two and our team will have that up for you as a recording. But once again, feel free to reach out to the team here at IT&T for if this webinar has raised any questions or if you'd like help on anything, more than happy to assist. Thank you again, folks. We're really, really pleased to have you on the call today, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.